Vitamin D isn't really a vitamin. It's a hormone, one that nearly every cell in your body has a receptor for. It controls how much calcium you absorb, how your immune system responds to threats, how your muscles function, even how your genes get expressed. And despite living in a world full of sunlight, an estimated 1 billion people worldwide don't have enough of it in their blood. So today, what vitamin D actually does, what happens when you don't get enough, or somehow get too much, how much you actually need, and why the D3 plus K2 combination everyone's talking about might actually make sense. Fresh science, no fluff. Here's what makes vitamin D unusual. Your body actually makes its own, mostly in your skin, using UVB light from the sun. That pre-vitamin then travels to your liver, then your kidneys, getting converted twice before it becomes biologically active. Its best documented role is calcium regulation. Vitamin D controls how much calcium your intestines absorb from food, and how your bones use that calcium for mineralization and strength. This function is backed by decades of solid, repeated research. Beyond that, vitamin D receptors also exist in your immune cells, your muscles, and dozens of other tissues. Research increasingly shows it plays a real role in modulating immune response, reducing inflammation, and supporting muscle function. Here's the honest caveat. While the bone and calcium research is extremely well established through decades of clinical trials, some of the broader claims, vitamin D for mood, for preventing chronic disease, for cancer prevention, are still actively being studied, and the evidence there is more mixed than marketing often suggests. When vitamin D runs low for a long period, your body can't absorb enough calcium, so it starts pulling calcium from your bones to keep blood levels stable. Over time, this thins bone density. In children, severe deficiency causes rickets, softened, weakened bones. In adults, it's called osteomalacia, and long-term deficiency significantly raises osteoporosis and fracture risk. But deficiency also shows up in less obvious ways: persistent fatigue, muscle weakness, and a higher frequency of infections, since your immune cells rely on vitamin D signaling too. The tricky part is that these symptoms are vague enough that most people never connect them back to vitamin D. Here's something people don't ask enough. Can you get too much? The honest answer, yes, but almost never from sunlight or food. Your skin actually self-regulates. Once you've made enough vitamin D from sunlight, your body stops converting more. Toxicity only happens from supplementation, and specifically from sustained megadoses, typically 40,000 or more international units a day for months, which is far beyond anything in a normal supplement bottle. The mechanism is hypercalcemia, too much calcium in your blood, causing nausea, weakness, confusion, and in severe cases, kidney damage. This is genuinely rare, but it underscores a simple point. More is not automatically better. You'd think living somewhere sunny solves this automatically. It often doesn't, and here's why. Glass blocks nearly all UVB rays, so sitting by a sunny window does almost nothing. Sunscreen, even at moderate SPF, dramatically reduces synthesis. UVB intensity depends heavily on time of day and season. Outside a roughly 2-hour peak window, very little vitamin D gets made at all. Darker skin, which has more melanin, requires significantly more sun exposure to produce the same amount as lighter skin. And simply put, most people today spend the vast majority of daylight hours indoors. None of this means sunlight doesn't matter. It's still the most natural source. But I live somewhere sunny and I have enough vitamin D are two very different things. And multiple studies confirm that populations in sun-rich regions can still have widespread deficiency. The official recommended daily allowance is 600 IU for most adults, rising to 800 IU after age 70. But here's the nuance. That number is designed to prevent severe deficiency in the general population. It's not necessarily the amount that gets most people to what's considered an optimal blood level. Most experts now consider a blood level of 30 to 50 nanograms per milliliter the target range for overall health. Reaching that, especially if you're currently deficient, often requires more than the base RDA, commonly 1,000 to 2,000 IU daily for maintenance, or up to 4,000 IU under medical guidance if correcting a real deficiency. The safety ceiling most health authorities set is 4,000 IU per day, without medical supervision. Some research suggests healthy adults can safely go higher under monitoring. But the honest, simple guidance is get a blood test if you can, And don't self-prescribe high doses indefinitely without knowing your actual levels. Quick but important distinction. Vitamin D supplements come in two forms, D3 and D2. D3 is the same form your skin naturally produces, and research consistently shows it's more effective at raising and maintaining blood levels than D2. If you're buying a supplement, D3 is the one to look for. Now, the D3 plus K2 combination you've probably seen marketed everywhere. Here's the actual mechanism. Vitamin D increases how much calcium enters your bloodstream. Vitamin K2 activates specific proteins that direct that calcium into your bones and teeth and away from your arteries. The honest evidence status. This is a genuinely plausible, well-reasoned mechanism, and some clinical trials, including imaging studies looking directly at arterial calcification, have shown encouraging results when D3 and K2 are combined. But large-scale, long-term trials in the general population are still ongoing, and results across studies have been mixed, depending on dose and who's being studied. The MitoMint verdict. D3 with K2 isn't hype, and it isn't proven beyond doubt either. It's a reasonable, biologically sound combination. Just don't expect it to be a guaranteed fix based on current evidence. So here's the practical takeaway. Vitamin D genuinely matters. This isn't wellness trend hype. It's a hormone your entire body depends on. Deficiency is common, often silent, and worth checking with an actual blood test rather than guessing. If you supplement, choose D3 over D2. Consider pairing it with K2 for the added mechanism, and stay within safe dosing unless you're being monitored by a doctor. And don't assume living somewhere sunny means you're covered. The data says otherwise for a huge number of people. That's the real evidence-based breakdown on vitamin D. Not what the label or the influencer telling you to take 10,000 IU a day says. If you found this useful, check out the vitamin D short on this channel. The pinned comment links back here. Fresh science, no fluff.